Thanks for coming through today. My name is Ben Johnston. I'm an artist and designer based in Toronto. I moved here about 10 years ago from South Africa, and I focus mainly on typography, so anything to do with lettering, murals, graphic design. And today, we're going to be drawing your names for the next 30 minutes on this new Samsung WAC interactive display. So, drop your names in the comments, and I'm going to draw them on here for you in some different styles, and then we'll send them to you afterwards. All right, let's get started. So you can kind of play around with the different backgrounds, which is cool. So depending on the style of lettering you're doing that day, mess around with the black background, and then it kind of has all these like pretty cool different brush styles over here. So we'll start over here, and then we'll start off with Samantha. So in the mornings I kind of like to just sort of like play around, like getting ready for the day, like kind of like loosen up, do a few different like hand styles, just to kind of get into the flow of designing that day. Spelling is also always a bit of an issue. So, it's kind of always fun, and like especially on something like this, you can just kind of erase as you go. Like, honestly, like kind of prefer it than paper these days, So, you can kind of like play around with these really cool features, different brush strokes, and like this kind of thing looks kind of like a Sharpie, and then also play around with like, the different size of things as well. So you can kind of like add effects in there afterwards, like, different things. And then just kind of like undo things as you go, which is really cool. And then, in order to like kind of keep the flow going as well, you can kind of just go ahead and like save each one. So although like maybe you're doing like some morning sketching, at least like when you look back at this thing afterwards, like you can kind of like save some of the cool stuff that otherwise maybe you would have like thrown away before. So we'll go ahead and clear that, and just kind of like maybe pick a new background. So you've got fill. I think let's try going red, and then maybe we will go with like kind of nice big bold white. And then we'll maybe try a different brush. So let's go ahead and try this one. All right. So this is kind of a really cool like ink effect to this one. So it kind of creates like this really cool like bleeding as well of the ink, which is like really fun for drawing and kind of getting into that hand style flow, I think that's kind of like the unique thing as opposed to drawing on paper as well. You can kind of, like save all these different effects, experiment with things without getting like super messy in the studio. So that's really fun. And then like super easy, just kind of save each one. And then, like I said, you can call back, like even if you just like one part of your illustration before, you can just kind of come back to that and then use that again. And we'll have a little play around with jade in here. So we'll try like a different brush. We'll go with like traditional Sharpie. Kind of like really nice letters in jade in. It's kind of like a really fun approach. And then because with like typography, like the whole type is the image in the end. You can kind of sometimes like, add like cool effects, little like speech bubble things, play around, see if it looks cool, if the balance is right. And if it's not quite right, like I said, I mean, easier than just like erasing marker on paper, which you can't really do. So, you know, you can kind of get back to that and like, you know, just like keep kind of experimenting. So if you wanted to like, whatever, you know, like play around. So it's kind of really fun. And honestly, like the stylus works really well with this. Like, you know, the effect and even the sound is there. So, you know, super impressive on that level. So we'll go ahead and save that because we like that one. And we'll go with Nazar. Thanks for sending something in. So why don't we play around with like white background again, and then we'll go with red. And with this little color palette tool over here, you can kind of customize your own colors, which is really cool. So we're still kind of like playing around with that. And then if you go like clockwise, you can kind of like pick a tone, you know, other than one of these, and then like kind of mix them together a little bit, kind of like paint, which is really fun. Find it like helpful to kind of like when you're playing around in the morning as well, like play with different angles as well, you know. It kind of gives you like, you know, you can kind of create like a completely different effect by just kind of like tilting the text slightly, you know, kind of playing around with it over there. You can kind of like add some effects in. Yeah, I think just super fun. And then, you know, making mistakes, also got like the eraser tool, but, you know, all about playing, so you don't really need to like erase things, I don't think, when you're kind of having fun. So we'll save that. And then we can kind of like play around with maybe some of the other effects as well. Like, so it's kind of got like a spray paint vibe to it. It's got like chalk, so we give that a go, see if we like it. Chloe Wild has entered the chat. All right. It's kind of cool playing around with all these different colors. We will clear and we'll try that one again as well. We'll try this nice teal color. And we can maybe go for like a little script vibe this time. And we'll do it maybe at an angle. So we'll so like it's honestly it's so smooth with like this matte film on it. Like it kind of has like such a nice like flow to it, and it's not like sticky or anything. So really like that kind of vibe to it. So I think that kind of looks really cool. And then, you know, like if you want to kind of mess around and play around with like multiple colors within there as well, you know, you can always like add some cool effects. But, you know, I like to keep things kind of simple for that vibe. So Chloe, we'll save this for you. So I find it like super important in the morning, or like just kind of when you're trying to get into a design project, even if it's like a totally different approach, just kind of like messing around and like having fun and like not being too confined sometimes to like just sitting and, you know, designing with the mouse. Like you can kind of just like play around, and then, you know, you kind of see like what's working for you, what's like not working, and you can be like, okay, cool, should have joined like the M's together, so you can try that again, you know? And then like your balance is a little better as well. So like you kind of make the A at the end bigger, and then you can give it like something to kind of like underline it a bit, you know, kind of like balance it out a bit. So it's kind of got like a fun vibe over there. So, you know, the whole type just becomes like the actual image. Because when you don't have a face or, you know, a landscape or whatever, you kind of need the whole graphic to do all the work for you. So the balance is super important. And with these bold like brush strokes, and even like if you look closer, you know, it's got a lot of like really cool effects, like, you know, that kind of like ink blotchiness, like when you're actually, you know, using a Sharpie, which is kind of a really cool effect, you know. So if you had to like export these and actually use them for, you know, design or logo project or whatever, like it's really cool. So it's not like, it doesn't correct it for you, which is, I think, important, because you want things to look like, even if they're digital, to look like they're done by hand, or at least I do. So, thanks, Emma. All right, well, let's try like a background this time. Okay, let's do, I feel like this purple background would be pretty cool. Okay, Kahiri. All right, let's try, go with white, yeah. And we'll go with the big. Again, just like trying to play with the balance, you know. With longer names, you can kind of like separate some of the letters and increase the size of them, you know. And like play with like different capitals. And then again, like one last big letter. Or we could split into two lines, we could try that as well. So we'll go again, like purple, go fill, go background, and then we'll change the color, change the brush, and then we can try like at an angle even. And then we'll do like the H a little bit lower. So you kind of just have like a lot of fun, you know, playing with longer names, whichever words, you know. So a really fun like kind of tool to play around with. So we'll save that one, which I kind of like that one in the colorway. Okay, cool. So we'll go and save this one over here. Kind of like the script vibe as well. So what we'll do is we'll get rid of that and Evan. All right. So I think what's kind of fun as well is I like playing around with like different Sharpies and like different, you know, crayons and all sorts of things when I'm designing stuff. So we'll go with like a maybe kind of old school bubble graffiti letter style. So okay, let's go. So this is kind of like the pencil tool. So it's got like the opacity levels as well, which is fun. And then, you know, we'll give it like the fun like little speech bubbles. And then we'll do like kind of a scrub fill. And then we can kind of like clean this up in the end when we give it a nice outline and maybe even like drop shadow or something. So we'll give it. Cool. So what we can do here, pick a new thing. I think we should give it like less of a scrubby outline and maybe this one. can play with the size. And then give it like a nice Sharpie outline. It's kind of really fun to be able to like just play around and change things on the fly. And like it really does give the effect of like crayon, you know, and like marker. So give it like a little drop shadow. And like the thing is with drawing, like you want to keep it loose, you know, you only don't get like too serious on it unless you're working on like your final product, you know. So I like to keep things like pretty just fun and loose, and you know, you can always get back in there in the end, and like, you know, if you wanted to like get rid of the green and then clean up the type, you can always like, you know, kind of like get your white marker out and like join up the words nicely and like sharpen everything up, you know, which is really fun. So you can kind of just have like a lot of fun with it, you know, and like sharpen up like all of these, which I think, you know, pretty hard to do on like pen and paper, to be honest. So it's kind of like a fun feature on this. You can use like the white or whatever your background color is, you know, instead of using the eraser. Like I love like the sketchy feel of it all, you know, it just makes it look way more hand done all the time. And then, you know, if you're trying to fill big areas, we can just like make a bigger marker. So it kind of like acts nicely as a pencil tool, the other one, just to help guide like where you're wanting to draw your lines. If you're doing something a little more complex than like maybe just like a pencil sketch. And like it's cool because it even like smears like the color below it, so it's really fun and like kind of a nice like added detail, which I guess is the fun part of like a lot of these programs. Alright, we'll finish this up here. But it has a really cool sound to it as well, which is nice. Like it doesn't make you feel like you're drawing on a screen, which is, you know, could be like clinical, I guess, in some way, but this is just got like a fun vibe to it. And like a very like sketchy sketchbook sort of appeal to it. So yeah, so pretty fun. So we'll go ahead and save that one, and then we'll do like I think just a one-liner Evan piece as well, which I think would be cool. So we'll kind of just like save these, make sure not to save over them, and then we can go ahead and clear that. And then I think we'll go with like the bold, go like maybe a pink. We can, yeah, like a nice magenta. So we can do, like maybe we'll do uppercase. So it's kind of really nice letters to play with. And then yeah, we just kind of like give it like a fun star, maybe like a little detail there, and like, yeah, I think that kind of like gives it a nice flow to it as well, like really nice letters. So kind of playing around with that flow of it. So Evan, will go ahead and save that for you as well. Alright, okay, cool. So I'm thinking Maybe like a cool background color again. Try blue. I don't think we've done that yet. And then go. Okay, let's go. Okay, we'll try like maybe just play around with some different styles here. Kind of, you're going to go really big and bold with some of these, which is cool. And then also like with some of the names, you know, you can kind of use like the Z as part of the T cross, and yeah, just kind of like play around with that a bit, which I think is really fun. We'll save this option. We can always play around with another. All right, Lily, let's do that. Okay, I'm thinking we go with a cool, go with like a nice magenta here. All right, so let's play around with this. So we can do, like just loosen up with like a bit of script. That's kind of fun. Maybe we'll save that, and then we'll do like another one as well, which I think would be cool. It's like really nice flow to those letters. So let's go ahead and clear that. Honestly, this thing is going to be so much fun at the studio, though. Okay, so we'll go with like something. You know, we'll just play with a different style here. And that's the fun thing with this. You don't really have to like take any of it, you know, too seriously. You can just kind of like play around. And then, you know, that vibe, or we can give it like, I think like that's pretty fun. Maybe like we'll give it like the little speech bubble effect, you know. I think that's kind of got a cool like feel to it. So okay, let's save that. I feel like we only got 10 minutes left here, and we've got a bunch of names we want to try and get in here. So don't forget to send them in, and we'll get them done. Forrest, cool man. All right. Okay, so maybe we're thinking like let's do another background, green background. And we will try this other paintbrush, kind of like a nice ink effect to it. And we'll go max on the brush. And like I really like how it like pulls at the end, you know? So we'll go like so it's kind of a fun like forest, using like the first F to like contain it, and then the S at the bottom to kind of like lock it in at the bottom. We'll save this, and we'll give you one more in like the bolder brush as well. But like it's kind of really fun playing around with these different brushes. Alright, so we'll clear that, and then maybe we'll see if we can do, like again, just kind of like mixing our own, yeah, we'll kind of mix our own thing there. And then, yeah, we'll do one more forest quick. So I can't remember if there was one or two R's in that. I feel like it was two. Yeah. I feel like I like that. I like this. Even Even has that whiteboard squeaking noise. Love it. Alright, cool. And like we just custom made that color, which is really cool. So go ahead and save that. Okay, Kenzie. Alright, getting down to the wire here. So let's mix a new color. So we'll play around with like mixing a little bit of purple into the green, make a little blue color. That's kind of fun. Probably change a few things, so maybe we'll try like one more there. It's got a fun vibe to it. Nice letters, like, yeah, and like all these like fun little details, the way like the marker kind of has like these little details and imperfections when you're drawing, like, it's really fun. Alright, trying to get to like the last few names here, so we'll have to move a little quickly here. I think that's all we got time for today. So we want to like thank you guys so much for coming through. Do a little thank you here. Like honestly, these sound effects that come with it. And when you want to fit like some longer things in there, longer words, you know, we just gotta like play around with the size a little bit. Thanks for coming out. That was really fun. Yeah, enjoy.